Hello folks, I'm back again. I'm over at Conservation Fisheries with Derek. Now Derek, you're a biologist here at Conservation Fisheries. What do you guys do?
So we raise a lot of mostly endangered, imperiled fish. A lot of it's for restoration work. We put things back into the wild to restore populations that have been lost.
It's a real worthy cause, and if you're really curious about the whole setup and the facilities here, which are impressive and quite immense, there's a whole video just where we go around and we tour the whole place, and it's really interesting. Derek's a club member of our East Tennessee Aquatic Association. Did I say that right?
I think so.
I keep switching aquatic and aquarium, and I was like, oh well. Anyway,
ETAA.
Yes, the ETAA, that club I'm very fond of, and yet another club member that I've been very appreciative to meet. Another community person here in Knoxville that I get to know just by getting out from the house and looking around. So, with all that aside, I am often approached to show products on my channel, and this one came to me, but I didn't really need it. But I knew that you guys might. It's a chiller. It's the Pixie water chiller. It's the model CL280. It says it's well, it's got some size, some measurements and stuff that won't really matter. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this out of the box and we're going to take a look at it, and then later on, Derek and the crew here over at Conservation Fisheries are going to set up a display tank and use this in a practical way. So we'll see the setup for this, and we'll get to maybe test it and maybe come back and check on it and see how it's doing and get your professional opinion on how this thing's chilling. Now, a chiller is basically an air conditioner for a fish tank, right?
Yep.
It is a lot of species will, and we're going to talk a little bit after we get this out of the box. I think we'll talk a little bit more about chillers and why you might want them, what kind of fish like them. But let's get this thing out of the box because it's big and awkward and huge. It's actually it's very heavy. I'd say this is it's at least maybe 30 pounds or so. And comes with a small box, which is very handy. I imagine those are hoses and stuff. We got some instructions, which we'll definitely read. Yeah, some clamps, like hose connections, it looks like. And then the chiller itself, oh my gosh. This looks like it belongs in the kitchen somehow, doesn't it? Wow.
It's very nice, sleek housing for it.
Wow, it's actually really, really clean looking. Like nice is plastic. We got kind of a plastic housing on this.
It does look like a kitchen appliance or something.
Doesn't it? It's got the venting in the back looks a lot like maybe a refrigerator or something you'd see. I wonder if it's got Freon. Maybe I shouldn't be tilting that. I didn't see any warnings on the box.
I don't think they can use actual Freon anymore. I think that's all non-toxic.
Oh, that's
alternatives
true.
Now.
That's true. All right, I'm gonna just pull this tape off the front here.
Looks like an air filter for the front.
Yeah, so there's like an air intake, and it looks like it goes out the back. Moving through these coils and stuff in the back is probably what makes it hold. I'm not an air conditioner expert. So we've got a plug here. We have an outlet here on the side. That's probably either to put them in line or to put something else on. I bet this has to do with
having a pump attached. That's probably cut off for a pump or something.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I wondered too. Well, I was going to say maybe it's still like for a thermostat to cut it off and on.
Oh yeah, that could be.
But that's probably would go off the main board. Yeah, you would plug
that into that. All right. We've had chillers here that freeze up. If the pump stops running, the thing will keep cooling and ice will condense in it, and it basically explodes from the inside.
Oh, really?
So that may be a cutoff for the pump.
There's really not a lot to look at. There is an air filter in the front.
Yeah, that's a nice feature.
It looks like not much of a filter, but there's something, I guess, to keep
some dust
bugs and things out of there.
You want to keep your cooling fins clean.
It's interesting that there's not a lot of stuff going on inside of here, but boy, is it heavy. See, what I was hoping is that there would be packaging that would kind of explain the features and stuff that are going on with this, but I don't really see any. So maybe we break open this other box. Oh my gosh!
You had a knife. I had a knife. I have them also. Oh, it comes with a pump.
Yeah, it should have a pump and some hoses.
Hoses. Clamp and a suction cup.
Alright.
I don't think most of them come with the pump, so that's really cool.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, and the hoses are split already. They're not kinked or anything. They look nice.
Yeah, there's just hoses and a pump in there.
They look like pretty thick. That's a pretty good gauge of hose.
Pump.
Yeah, just a simple water pump here. You got a little, like a debris filter, whatever you call that. Nice. Well, it's pretty heavy duty. Let's see what it says here. This is the model CL280. All right, it says it's the Vevor aquarium chiller, 52 gallon, 196 liters, 1/10 horsepower, hydroponic water chiller, quiet refrigeration compressor for seawater and freshwater fish, fish tank cooling system with pump, hose for jellyfish, coral, and reef are the details that they put on here. Stable water temperature. An aquarium chiller is like an air conditioner for fish tanks, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. It can keep the temperature between 65 and 80, creating a healthy environment for your fish, especially during the hot, that's not very cold. Healthy environment for your fish, especially during hot summer months. It's 0.1 HP energy saving compressor. Our aquarium tank chiller uses high efficiency free compressor and R134A refrigerant. This means that circulation and cooling will remain free from pollution to ensure proper cooling of the chiller. We also provide 132 to 264 gallons per hour pump that delivers effective and stable water circulation. So up to 264 gallons an hour on that pump. Is that good? How big a tank does that service? Is that how you would determine how big a tank to put it in?
I think it's more the capacity. So what did it say? You said 50 something gallon is what it said on there?
Yeah, 52 gallon. 52 gallon, 196 liter. So rapid heat dissipation. The aquarium chiller has a built-in fan and cooling holes in the front and rear sides for powerful ventilation. This disperses the heat from the compressor, allowing it to work efficiently all day long. Just make sure to leave at least 24 inches of space around the chiller for proper cooling. Keep aquatic life alive. Features corrosion-resistant titanium evaporator, making it safe for use on both fresh and brackish aquatic environments. Our water chiller for fish tank is perfect for keeping any aquatic life such as axolotls, fish, crystal shrimp, corals, and jellyfish at the ideal temperature. Bedroom level quiet. This fish tank chiller operates with low noise, making it perfect for fish keepers and hydroponics enthusiasts. Do they need it to be quiet when they're growing vegetables?
I guess not for that, but well, if you're going to do it in your bedroom.
I'm growing vegetables in my bedroom here. You'll wake the tomatoes. Okay.
Bedroom quiet.
It's versatile. It's versatile too. It can be used for fish tanks or aquaponic systems in a variety of settings such as homes, hotels, and aquariums. So that's the sales pitch for this thing. Oh, and it runs $224 is what it's listed at right now. So
small and portable enough to take to the hotel with you.
yeah, and quiet, so you won't wake up anybody when you're growing vegetables in there. It's interesting when, from a sales perspective, when you try to market things, but you kind of have to do it all in one place.
Yeah.
It's like, people with hydroponics need this, but also people with saltwater tanks. Well,
jellyfish, axolotls.
Yeah, and jellyfish, and so yeah, they've got all the keywords mixed in there, so that it'll show up in the search. So the setup for this looks pretty straightforward. You got a pump. It's going to pump the water into here, and then it'll return the water back out. The water's going to go through channels in here, and then the mechanism that cools that will cool the water as it passes through. Probably passes through copper or something like that.
Yeah, that's a question for an HVAC person.
Yeah, I imagine it works a lot like the water chilled stuff in your computer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how effective it is. Hopefully, it's nice and effective.
I'm sure it's better than what I've heard of people doing with a mini fridge and running copper piping through a mini fridge over and over and over again and piping it out.
All right, Derek. So we've got this chiller out. Why would someone want one of these? Do fish need to be cold? Do a lot of fish need to be cold like that?
A lot of the fish we work with do. Yeah, I mean, a lot of tropical fish that people are keeping in aquariums like to be in the high 70s to 80s, but some of them prefer colder water. A lot of the killifish live in shaded rainforests, little brooks and tiny little creeks that are, even though it's tropical rainforest, the water that's on the ground still stays pretty cool. What we're talking about with this is maybe a spring-fed species where they're subject to groundwater that's coming up out of the ground, and around here with the species that we're thinking about, that water is going to be in the mid to high 60s. So,
and it's like that all the time, right?
Yep, all year round. Chillers are used for reef aquariums a lot because the corals are sensitive to being overheated and things.
I guess, are a lot of creeks and things like that spring-fed? Is that why they're so cold, or is it just kind of the evaporation, or?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything: tree cover, evaporation, groundwater. I mean, most of the fish that we work with prefer water close to 70 degrees. A lot of them stress out if it gets much higher than that, but it depends on the habitat.
What does a chiller typically look like? Is this? I've never seen another one. So, are they different than this, or?
The ones we use in the back of the hatchery are bigger, more industrial-looking beasts with just a plain, black square box. They're not. They don't have this nice sleek design like this with a digital.
Orange. But they're also like huge capacity, right?
Yeah.
So what capacity do they run at?
I don't know off the top of my head.
What do you got them pumping into? Like,
yeah, ours are chilling systems that are several hundred gallons, so they're much larger and louder and put off a much more heat than this, and so.
I guess it can be. I guess it can kind of go both ways. Like they generate heat, but they're also making it cool. So it's like they're working against themselves.
Yeah, well, a couple of ours actually have like dryer vent like ducts, like so that in the wintertime we're like piping hot air outside, so it's not heating the systems around. The
oh man!
or whatever. Yeah.
What a vicious circle you get into with that.
Hence the 24 inches of airspace around this thing, or whatever they recommend, so the heat can dissipate. Because if you put this under the cabinet without enough airspace, that hot air is going to build up under the aquarium and then just keep heating the aquarium from underneath, and then you're fighting against it. So.
Huh. So, what kind of tank do you think you'd put on this?
So I think our plan, based on what it's saying, and so we're thinking probably spring pygmy sunfish, which is a species that we keep here that is spring fed, and so they like to be in the upper 60s. Probably like a 40-gallon tank. Something like that.
Where do you find that? Those are such beautiful fish. They're very shy, but where do you find them in Tennessee?
They're actually only native to a couple of tiny little springs in North Alabama.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, I think their entire range is within a 5 or 10 square mile. Like they're very isolated in a couple of like spring-fed pools that drain into the Tennessee River. So.
And they're very tiny too.
Yes.
They're very tiny, beautiful little fish. Like kind of They seem like sort of black little blue spots. Or
I think you said they were your favorite fish of the tour on that other video.
Oh yeah,
you were in there taking lots of videos.
Oh man, I love those things.
They're very charming.
I think they're really neat. Anytime when I was here is the most I've seen one. Like usually people go, "Oh, I've got that," and I go and look in their tank, and you don't know they're hiding in the back or something like that. Well, this is a neat device. It's fairly simple. We didn't go there's a few things we didn't go over. It's got some little nozzles that go at the top. It basically looks like just like any canister filter you've ever had, but it's got an external pump, and that pump's going to do all the work as far as putting the water into here and pulling it out. And I noticed they made a big deal of how quiet it is, bedroom quiet, so you won't wake your vegetables up. So a lot of the times they claim when they claim it's quiet, it's that because that pump's underwater and that kind of muffles the sound. So all the noise that you're going to hear, well, no, it's got a fan too.
Yeah, it probably has a fan in it. That's probably what the compressor and the fan is probably the part that they're worried about being quiet in the unit.
Well, to be determined. We'll put that claim to the test, along with everything else, and how well it chills and everything, and just make sure that it's a great thing before we fully endorse it. Now, full disclosure, they did send me this for free. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want a chiller?" And I was like, somebody I know wants one. I know these guys can really use one. I wanted to be a part of the process to help out. So I'm going to put a code down so you can check this out for yourself. I am not 100% certain if that is an affiliate code or not. It's kind of the way they work with creators is a little bit different, not in a bad way or anything, but it was a little bit unusual. So I've got this link where you can go check it out. And I don't know if I'll profit from it or not. I invite you to shop around either way, always. But there'll be a link down there to learn more about this. And we'll be back here to Conservation Fisheries to set up that pink bee sunfish tank, maybe, or whatever it ends up being, very soon. Once we kind of figure out how we want to do everything, and we'll show you exactly how this sets up. I can tell you right now, it's pretty simple. That's going to go in the tank. Water's going to go in here, then out there, and back into the aquarium. Or maybe would you put it in line with like a canister or something?
You could plumb it right into a canister filter. Yeah.
Huh.
It basically is a canister filter instead of filtering it, just doing the heat exchange. So
if you did
you
that,
could just run it in series.
What's weird? A canister filter would have its own pump. Would you still use the pump if you did that?
I don't know. It may depend on the canister filter. You
might
be able to just leave the canister filter unplugged, but still.
If you used a really big one, like if you used maybe an overpowered one, maybe it would have enough oomph to push it all the way through. So it's got to suck it down. Then gravity's going to be pushing to some degree, and it's going to go in through there. But you would probably want it to go through the canister filter first, and then go into here. So you wouldn't have so much crap in it. Like it would mechanically clean it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then this would be like the last thing on the way out. That's what I would imagine. But
it may say in the instructions whether
you
could do that or
we'll
not.
take a look at the instructions and give you a more informed description of how we do this later. So be sure to subscribe and tune in. Thank you, Derek, for letting me come over and show you this thing. And hopefully it makes for a really cool tank.
Yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity to set up a nice display tank.
All right. Well, until next time, folks, follow your bliss, keep a clean tank, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.